Looking for the top tech accessories as a content creator, maybe you're in the market for a camera. We're about to talk about 6 of them for Prime Day, but also some of the more niche things like storage, SD cards, tripods. We have been looking all over Amazon during Prime Day, but if you're watching the replay, this is also going to be an educational video because I've got 2 of our Think Media team members that are really filmmaking, content creation experts, and we're going to be learning a lot today. But I actually am curious, have you purchased anything recently for Prime Day? I actually just picked up the Aohi Youth 140 watt charger. I got MacBooks and iPads and different things that I want to charge these days. That is a ton of power. This one device will actually charge 2 of your devices. And well, not only is it like 45% off, but I stacked some promotions and they got me. I started getting some cables as well. I got a little smaller one for my wife. The yellow kind of slaps as well. You can see the different levels here. So anyways, let me know what you've been shopping for. And this particular stream is, again, all about Prime Day deals, but also just a lot of the tech stuff that we love and recommend here at Think Media. We'll also do a little bit of Q&A and check out time codes and chapters if you want to skip around on the replay. Today, I have with me Craig Pruitt, who is one of the content creators at Think. He's been doing content creation for 9 years. He's been a director of video production at a university, done all kinds of freelance video, and is a content creation expert. So fired up to hear his top picks and his tips. Craig, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Excited to share lots of great deals this morning, especially on a few cameras that we really like, but there's lots to share. So very excited.
Yeah, so we'll hit those in just 1 second. We got 6 cameras, and then we'll hit storage, computer accessories, tripods, lighting. So we're going to cover a lot of different stuff. But we also have Nathan with us, and Nathan has been a Think Media editor since 2022. He's been in a couple of videos here on Think Media, a YouTuber for 10 years, done a lot of commercial and marketing video production since 2019. So he's got a lot of picks as well. Nathan, how you doing?
Thank you so much. It's really cool for all of us to hang out this morning and just kind of talk about some cool tech. Hopefully we bring lots of cool picks that can help up YouTubers and really improve their overall workflow, improve their videos.
Yeah, super fired up. So we're going to dive straight into these cameras here. I'll kick it to Craig, and I'll kind of be jumping in and out, looking at your questions as well. So Craig, go through these cameras. And then, by the way, right, these are some Prime Day deals and also just some sales in general. And as we're going throughout, we have a lot of tutorials about this gear on Think Media. So it's some of our favorite stuff. But Craig, take it away.
Absolutely. So first we got the Panasonic Lumix S5. So this camera is a couple of years old by now, but when it came out, it was absolutely amazing. We got 4K up to 60 frames per second and the flip out screen, which is absolutely essential for content creators. I use computer monitors all the time to view myself when recording, but you don't need that when you have a flip out screen. So this is a great deal on this camera, only $1,500. So we got 29% off, and it comes with the kit lens at that price. So a pretty good kit lens, 20 to 60 millimeters as well. And this camera, I mean, it's very professional. So if you want really high image quality with a kit lens, this is a great choice for you in 2024. So that's the first option we have there.
Who's it for, and what would be the downside? Like if you had $1,500, Craig, would you buy this or would you buy a Sony?
I personally would go with Sony because I'm in the ecosystem, but that's not including a lens. So our next option is the FX30, which is around that same price point, around $1,500, but it doesn't come with a lens. So I'm in the Sony ecosystem. So I would go with the Sony. I already have all the glass for it. So it's just more affordable for me to be in the Sony ecosystem because I'm already there. So the FX30 for $1,600 is the lowest that I've seen on any Prime Day deal or any sales. So $1,600 for the body only. You're not going to get the top handle with this deal. So that's an additional like $200 or $300. But this for me is, if you do long form video, podcasting, you do any sort of streaming, this is the camera for you at $1,600. I mean, it's hard to beat that price. And if you're someone who does like photography, we just reviewed the Sony ZV-E10 Mark II, and we've done many reviews about the Sony a6700 as well. So those are 2 cameras that share the same sensor as the FX30. So if you're a photo creator, you're going to want to go a different route than the FX30. But if you're long form video, if you do stuff like this, video podcasting, live streaming, you're going to want the FX30 for sure. And it's a camera we use all the time here at Think Media. So,
and I'll just add to that the FX30, while it's a little bit more expensive, it has a slightly smaller sensor, but compared to the Panasonic, you're not going to get autofocus, which is pretty big deal for YouTubers. So if you are behind the camera, this is a much better camera, full frame. I have used Panasonic cameras in the past and the image quality is fantastic. But if you are really focused in on YouTube, then probably the FX30 is your next best bet.
So what you're
Amen.
saying is Panasonic is contrast-based autofocus. It's not going to be as trustworthy as Sony's autofocus. So for the YouTuber, you're sticking with like Sony. For the filmmaker, that's going to maybe pull focus, really be dialing it in. And you're right. The FX30 on Camel, it says that the lowest price was $1,600. So for it to drop to $1,439 is lowest. You're correct that it's been. And this is people always talk about overheating and there being like overheating issues with things, or if I'm shooting in hot weather or whatever. This solves all of that. You have a fan inside of the camera and it's designed, it's not a hybrid, right? As much, it's designed for filmmaking. For anybody in the Think Media world, that's like, I want to start a video podcast, do it at, to your point, long form, do it at a high level. Really good choice to do an FX30. And you can already check out links and show notes, of course, in the description down below, but we're going to be updating that as we go. And we'll put in between some of the gear recommendations, our tutorials or videos that we have in our Think Media library, if you want to dig deeper in any of these cameras. But let me kick it back to Craig for the next camera on the list.
So the next camera on our list is the Sony ZV-1F. I like this camera because it's just so simple. I believe it has a built-in 20mm lens equivalent. So basically, you're not going to have to zoom in and out at all. Your composition just is what it is. When you use this camera, it's going to be 20mm, which is a wide enough focal length. I'm actually currently shooting on a 20mm lens right now. So this is sort of the equivalent field of view that you would see with 20mm. And for $400, this is an easy solution for you. If you're just like, hey, I need a basic camera, an easy camera where I can turn it on, adjust my settings and hit record. It's a very easy, simple solution. It comes in black and white as well, which is a big win. Our next camera.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask a question. Would you buy this camera? What's the scenario? Or would you stretch to the, I think this is on the list as well, the ZV-1, so you have a zoom lens?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to say. The ZV-1 is on our list, and maybe we can bounce to that one next, Nate, and show the difference in price. But it is a $200 price difference. So I think when you're looking at that under $1,000 price range, $100 to $200 is actually a pretty big budget jump for people. So I think it really depends on what you have access to funds wise. But I personally would for sure go with the ZV-1 with the 24 to 70 zoom range. So these are very similar cameras. They actually use the same image sensor, but you're going to get a different just zoom focal length with the ZV-1 for $600. So you're really paying that additional $200 to have the zoom range. I think Sean even is using the ZV-1 as a streaming angle, maybe one of your angles here. And we used it for
previously. Years. Now I'm on all APS-C over here.
You are
ZV-E10.
Oh, beautiful.
This was a ZV-1 angle, but matched it all up. And then I also wanted to kind of vlog with my ZV-1. So I started to, I wanted to take it with me and lock something down.
Wonderful.
There is an important point that needs to be made at this point in the video, which Martin brings up and said, obviously you need to grow a beard to be on Think Media. Martin, that actually is true. It's part of our hiring process, and that goes for the men and the women that work at Think Media. So that's a great point, Martin. And I don't know if this brings this up too. We could go back to the ZV-1, but people are, question for you, Craig. Do lenses on the ZV-E10 work with the FX30?
Absolutely. Sony is a great ecosystem because they use the Sony E-mount system. So whether you're on a full frame E-mount camera or an APS-C E-mount camera, the lenses work for all different cameras. So I behind me have like 13 different Sony cameras, and I'm in the Sony ecosystem. I have a ton of lenses, and all of my lenses work for all bodies. Now, if you have a full frame camera and you put a crop sensor lens, you're going to have to do some adjustments with that. But for the most part, yeah, if you have an FX30, a ZV-E10, any crop camera, it's going to work. Your lenses will be compatible with all of those.
Sony kind of is the best for making their ecosystem of lenses work across cameras, and even full frame being able to crop down, etc., as opposed to like Canon, who kind of has frustratingly created so many different lens lines.
Yes.
You have to have converters and all kinds of stuff. So Sony's done an incredible job with that. All right, what camera's next?
All right, next we're just hitting, speaking of the ZV-E10, it's the ZV-E10, a good sale happening right now for under $600, $598 for the ZV-E10. I'm a big fan of this
lens, because some people are leaking. We have a Prime Day leak here that says the ZV-E10 kit lens $599 when you put it all together. So if we go down,
let's find this.
Take a look.
Yeah, so that would be camera only based. It's one of those. It's going to be whichever one. So the body is $598, and we have to find where that is. And I also sometimes that's in the UK or something, but there's but
currently it's only showing 700 with the kit lens here, but maybe there is somewhere.
Okay, well, we'll kick it back to you to talk a little bit about the camera. Of course, this is an all-time favorite.
Absolutely.
Go for it.
Yeah, this is we've covered this camera extensively. I think we have a full playlist of over 10 videos about the ZV-E10 and how this is such a great camera for any sort of content creator. What's beautiful about it is you get such great image quality, and you can adapt any lens you want to this camera to get a shallow depth of field. We reviewed a lot of lenses that provide just a beautiful, image to your scene or to your YouTube studio like this. So the beauty about interchangeable lens systems too, or that's how you get the creative look. So if you go for the ZV-E10 over a ZV-1, the ZV-1's easier to use because you do have the built-in lens, and it's a 24-70 lens. But with the ZV-E10, you can have any lens you want. You can have a prime lens, you can have a 24-70, you could have anything. So you're going to get, it's also a larger sensor. So maybe Nate, you could explain kind of the difference between a 1-inch sensor on the ZV-1 and an APS-C sensor to kind of get people understanding the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. So a good look that people like in a YouTube setup is seeing a blurry background, since it adds like some separation. People don't have to worry about what's back there and why it looks so, it may not be the cleanest, so you kind of want to blur things out. So having a larger sensor is not only going to give you more blurry background, but it's also going to give you better low light capabilities, which is something that you may or may not need as a YouTuber, but it definitely gives you a more professional look. Now, an APS-C is a great middle of the road look. You don't have to go full frame. That's probably a little bit of a luxury. APS-C is really good, and that's about the size of film. So that's, if for example, like that is pretty decent of a film size when you are working with these cameras. So overall, for a budget camera, like you can't really get that much better with the ZV-E10, although the Mark II is out now. So maybe that kind of weighs your decision on whether or not to get the Mark I. But I have the ZV-E10. Sean's currently using it, so it's a great camera to get up and running.
Yeah, yes. This is the ZV-E10 right here, Mark I. But I do have a major question. At this exact moment, if you had to give some advice to someone that's like, the ZV-E10 Mark II is out for $1,000, and the Mark I now is much more affordable. And to clarify, John was mentioning earlier, the $599 was in pounds, so you have to convert that to dollars. But even still, Brandon was like, I'm seeing 700 with the lens, and that's still very tempting. Yeah, Brandon. I mean, it's the best selling. Like, we track what cameras people like to purchase the most. It's the best selling camera by far. So briefly on the debate of those that are like, do I actually spend the extra money and get the Mark II? Craig, you just finished your review on Think Media, and we can, I'll post that in the comments if people want to go deep dive. But what's your take? And Nate, I'm curious your take as well.
Yeah. My 2 cents would be, in a 2-sentence summary, if you're someone who needs 10-bit color, so this is Sony's brand new Color Science, then I would go for the Mark II. So this is going to get way better color just across the board when you're shooting, especially in some of the professional picture profiles. So that would be my recommendation. If you don't need that, I don't see a whole lot of reason to go for the Mark II, and you can just go with the Mark I and you're going to get a great image. So that's kind of a basic summary. Nate, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for the first camera, several YouTubers don't even color grade their videos. So if you're not even in that world, it's probably not even worth considering getting the higher end camera. For me personally, I would heavily like to upgrade to the Mark II. You get a bigger battery, so it should last longer. You get better colors, like you were saying. And also, there's a new menu, which is just a little bit more intuitive to use. So for me, I think it is worth it. I think that's just really, if you're looking for a first camera, you probably don't need the Mark II, right? But if you already have the Mark I, you've been using it for several years and looking for a little bit of an upgrade, the Mark II would be for you.
And it's a big price difference. So I think actually this is going to make the Mark I even hotter. And it's a good
Yeah.
point to simplify some language for maybe those that are new to cameras. If you're like creating basic YouTube videos, you don't need 10-bit. Like you don't need. Let me just answer the question for you. And speed is sometimes getting your content out quickly. Even taking the time to color grade can take quite a bit of time. Now, Tyler brings up another point. We got to keep moving. But one of the critiques of the ZV-E10 is it has bad rolling shutter. And what that means is if you're out filming and you kind of swing the camera, or if stuff's moving, that you sort of get like a warble in the shot. 99% of YouTube creators are locking the camera down just like this. So if you're thinking about, what am I going to make? Cooking videos, talking head videos, YouTube videos, live streaming, rolling shutter doesn't matter here. The battery size doesn't matter here. This is actually plugged into the wall with the dummy battery. The other one has the USB-C, but you can get around that. And so anyways, I think my take is that the ZV-E10 is kind of like the new Canon M50. It is like a Jordan 1's kind of like goated all-time camera. And then there's the Mark II came out, but people still got the Mark I because even the price was pushed down. But with that, what is the next camera on our list?
Yep, the next and last camera on our list would be the GoPro Hero 12. I cannot believe they're on the 12, actually. I'm pretty sure the last GoPro I bought was the 5 or the 6. So, but anyways, they're on the 12, and it's actually a pretty good deal, 25% off, only $300-ish for the GoPro Hero 12. And of course, you can use this for any of your action camera needs. Even vlogging. I mean, people are using this for vlogging nowadays. So yeah, just a great GoPro deal if you are needing a GoPro. And that's the final camera on our list, Sean.
Yes, and it doesn't look like it's on sale, but Nate, if you click on the creator edition, that's also something that I've had my hands on. And if you ever can find a deal on that, it's pretty cool because it's all integrated together. You got the light, you've got the mini kind of tripod and a mic that plugs right into it. That's meant for creating, for vlogging, etc. And so with that, things to check out. And let's jump to the next category, which is storage. And let me ask you, are you backing up your footage? Just the other day, side note, I'm talking to my mom at the park with my two boys, 2 and 4, and I've got a stroller and I have my iPhone 13 sitting in the stroller, just talking to my mom, and my son comes up, grabs the iPhone, walks over to a storm grate and throws it in there. It's gone forever. I actually climbed in, looked for it, couldn't find it. I pay $10 a month for iCloud, 10 terabyte, and I didn't have it set up right. I lost literally years of my kid's childhood, but it's his fault. So later on when he's like, Dad, why didn't you take pictures of me? I'm going to be like, because you threw them away, son. So that's a true story. But worse than that, storage matters. Backups matter. If there's a lesson of the day. So Nate, I think you're going to hit this one. Talk about the different levels of storage here and what you might use it for.
Absolutely. So if you are video editing, you're collecting a bunch of files, you're going to run into some storage issues. And rather than upgrading your computer, which can be very expensive, you want to look at external hard drives. So I have these SanDisk 4 terabyte extreme portable SSDs. These are very fast. You can edit off of them. And this is what I use here at Think. 4 terabytes for $250, 30% savings. This is extremely great deal. And who knows, I might even pick one up. I believe the 2 terabyte is also on sale. So if you don't need that much storage, you still save 30%. So really fast. You can edit off these, like I mentioned before. Definitely worthwhile to have.
So let's stick on that for a second. Two things. One, I know Kyle, our producer's in the background. Let's get a list of some of the things because that we should get. We should snag them on Prime Day while they're on sale. Two, can you explain a little bit more about how not all hard drives are created equal? Because for content creators, if we want speed in editing and why a hard drive could like slow down our workflow and be
Oh, yeah.
frustrating, what's the difference? I mean, 4 terabytes is 4 terabytes. So what's the difference between that 4 terabytes and some other type of a hard drive?
Yeah, so over here we have a external hard drive. So we have solid state drives or SSDs, and then we have hard drive or HDD. People say this one's a 16 terabyte, so way more storage. But because these are hard drives, they are much, much slower, and therefore they can be much cheaper. So here, this is at 227. The difference between these is they serve different purposes. A hard drive is much slower, so you want to put files that you still want to store but don't want to access regularly. Maybe you would transfer them to a faster drive to edit. So you gotta have to think of these systems at the same way. You don't want to store everything on an SSD because it can get very costly. So having these things in mind for your storage, imagine backing up every year to a hard drive, but all your current active projects are on an external SSD. So that way, your video rendering on your editing is much quicker. If you did it on an external hard drive, everything that you're editing is going to be much slower, probably won't play back as smooth. And that can be extremely frustrating as a video editor. But still, nonetheless, that doesn't say one is worse than the other. It just they serve different purposes.
Yep.
Yeah, and a question came in about 4 TB stands for terabytes.
Yes.
It's a pretty good amount of space. 20 terabytes is an incredible amount of space, but these days with 4K footage, depending on how much content you're pumping out and how much stuff you want to back up, it fills up. And we've got stacks of hard drives and network area storage and all kinds of different stuff. And we got stuff on the cloud. Obviously, we're a media company here at Think Media, so the level is pretty big. But to that point, usually the bigger the number, the more expensive. And so
Yes.
you're dealing with different types of storage. This is more for like backup, and you wouldn't really edit off of
Correct.
this kind of external hard drive, which is like a disk drive. You'd want a much faster internal.
Yep.
So what else is on the list here?
So now we have different storage that you would use for your cameras. So recording files to your cameras. And most cameras have SD cards. The ZVE10 that we recommended shoots on SD cards. I like these from Lexar. They are 128 gigabytes, which gives you a little over an hour of shooting 4K video. These are plenty fast enough for the ZVE10. And there's a pack of 2 for just shy of $60, 30% off. Definitely worth picking up these because last thing you want to do is format a card that you didn't back up. So just having plenty on hand can be hugely beneficial. And we also have micro SD cards. So for things like the GoPro that are a little bit smaller, while it's not a huge amount of savings, it is a little bit on sale, 20% off for SanDisk. Again, 128 gigabytes is going to be plenty for shooting 4K video. So if you're in the market for SD cards, Prime Day is an excellent day to pick up storage like this.
Man, I love it. And a couple shout outs. One, if you're getting value out of the stream already, we talked about cameras. There's time codes and chapters on the replay. We just covered storage, and smash like if you're getting value. And shout out to people watching all over. We've got Facebook. We've got LinkedIn. And man, the pain on LinkedIn, Lillian had her phone, lost pictures of her daughter because the phone crashed or was lost. And so did Joe. I don't know what's happening on LinkedIn, but it's a dark place over there. Like we're all losing our phones and childhood memories. But I appreciate you commenting, and shout out to Chindy over on Facebook. We have got a lot of great Prime deals to go through. So definitely share this out, smash like, subscribe to Think Media, or follow us wherever you're watching for more tips and tools for building your influence with video. And this next category is computer accessories. Back to you.
Yeah, we actually just have a straight up computer. So I recommend working off of Mac. I'm a Mac user, and anything with an M chip is going to be phenomenal for video editing. This one is the M3, which is brand new and is 18% off. So, and there's a $50 coupon. So, crazy amount of
Make sure
deals
to
for
check the
this.
coupon box. 13 inch
Yes,
though, you
absolutely.
could do it. And this really is a device you could easily get to an external monitor if you want to edit with a
Absolutely.
bigger screen. But what are your thoughts on that 13 inch for video editing?
Yeah, it's probably, I mean, I I have an external monitor that's much bigger, so I've gotten accustomed to that. But if you are doing light editing, just on your laptop, it is usable. It might get a little bit cramped. It may be worth getting the 15-inch, which I think they have available on sale as well. About to fact check that. But yeah, this is an absolutely phenomenal computer to get up and running. M3 is going to be plenty fast. I've edited off of like M1 computer for a little bit. So you're going to be all set there. I highly recommend checking out the new MacBook Air. We also have, do you guys have any last thoughts on this or what you guys might recommend?
I'm going to look around because I agree. If you get M1 or M3, you want to edit on Final Cut.
Yes.
Nathan also has got DaVinci. He's a DaVinci expert. That's what you're editing on, right? As well.
Yeah,
Always.
I'm using DaVinci Resolve and it's actually quite well integrated with Macs. So you do get a lot of performance, maybe Final Cut slightly faster, but I haven't had any issues.
So if you want to really change your content creation life and you're going to be editing yourself, we always talk about one of the best upgrades you can make is in speed. Anything that can help you go faster. So if you get like a MacBook, it's going to help you go faster, and software that integrates like Final Cut, it's going to edit smooth, scroll, export fast. But also if you got an external hard drive, like some of the SSDs we talked about earlier, and that's where your video files are, that'll edit fast. And so you're really only as strong as your weakest link. And so sometimes if you're frustrated by my computer seems like it's running slow, it could be the computer, it could be the hard drive. Some softwares these days, things are catching up, but sometimes softwares don't talk to the hardware as well. So the big idea behind Mac and Final Cut is the same creator of the hardware created the software. And so it's really smooth in terms of how it scrolls. And then you have these new M1 and M3 chips. It just gets insane. So one of the big upgrades you could consider making if you're thinking about investing is investing in your workflow so you have more speed. But we got a couple other computer accessories.
Yeah, I'll touch on this real quick. The Logitech MX Master 3 mouse is the one that I use. And what's cool about this is not only is an ergonomic mouse, which in and of itself could save you as if you're spending hours editing, you want to have something that's going to hold up. But I also like the fact that you have custom buttons. So I can use this to copy effects or paste effects, program like screenshots and whatnot. So this also speeds up your workflow, and time is money in many cases. So that little bit of increase in productivity can be huge. It is a little bit expensive, but if you are looking for a great mouse, this would be the one I would recommend, and it's 10% off.
Bro, this is the mouse. It is the greatest mouse. Wait, Craig,
Hey,
you got
yo.
it too?
Hey,
There you
yo.
go.
That's the
We did
one.
not know this before. This, what
Oh,
are we
what?
doing? Yo, we are mouse brothers, beard
love
and
it.
mouse brother. Okay.
This was not planned.
So ultimately, no, it's legit. And I've dealt with, to your point, when you've been editing, creating content and working in front of a computer, ergonomics is a big deal. So I've dealt with different arm and wrist pain, and I've been correcting it in a lot of ways from health and all kinds of stuff. So an investment in ergonomics and speed, programmable buttons. I love this mouse. It's so great. So
This also
remember,
comes with an Adobe Creative Cloud subscription. Hold on, that's
Yes, 1 month,
amazing.
I think.
wow,
crazy.
It's like the equivalent of maybe $50 or something.
Yeah,
or
it's about
$100.
half the price.
Yeah, that's pretty legit. So as a reminder, if you want to look at any of the products we're talking about, we've summarized them and we'll be updating that list in the description down below. We did talk about cameras at the beginning, Splash, and so you can always check the replay. And if you're, there'll be time count codes and chapters to skip around. CapCut does have a desktop version, and you absolutely could edit that on an M3 MacBook, Christian. And then the way we're switching camera angles and putting up your comments and whatnot is with a software called StreamYard. And we'll put a video in the description as well. with a tutorial about that. Super powerful software that makes it very convenient for us to do this exact kind of stream, and it's very easy to use. All right, next up is an Apple Magic keyboard. Break it down.
Yeah, so this is the keyboard that I use as well. It is just the basic Apple one, and I've just gotten really used to this. It allows me to I'm really comfortable with using it. So it's a great little keyboard. Battery life is incredible. I think I charge it like every 3 months or something crazy. But it's also 10% off, and we'll just kind of speed run through some of these computer accessories. There's a bunch of deals from Apple. We have Apple AirPods 3s. We have Apple AirPod Pros, and we also have the AirPod Maxes, which Think actually gifted some of its employees with the AirPod Maxes, and I love them for airplane trips. Its noise canceling is fantastic, and you could use this for video editing as well. Yes, Apple products are expensive, but today's the day if you want to save on that. It's over $150 worth of savings. So if you are interested in that, it's definitely worth picking up. Do you guys have any thoughts on headphones before we move on?
I just got those actually yesterday on the sale, Air Maxes. Even though we did give those to all of our Think team this last December, um, I was not included in that list. Come on. And so I'm just now.
Gifted you.
I know it's because I already had the Bose wireless, which have served me well for like a lot of years, but especially if you have a Apple workflow, the integration with a MacBook, Apple TV. My friend Benji, co-author of YouTube Secrets, was talking about he hooks his AirPod Maxes up to his Apple TV to watch movies. Like he could be alone in his living room with his 5 daughters and family around, just enjoying life, watching a movie and like perfectly. And he said it was even spatial. He said like if it turned his head, like the dynamics, that's gnarly. So I'm excited to crack those open once they arrive. And I am curious, have you purchased anything for Prime Day, or what's on your list? What are you shopping for? Rohan asks, is it worth getting one of the cameras, or should I get the DJI 3? Are you talking about the Pocket? I mean, that's such a specialist camera that if that's what you want, you should probably go for it. That's on my list with the vlog kit with the 2 mics for doing interviews. Maybe directly from DJI's website, but there's no sale on that right now. So you might want to wait or just pull the trigger. And with that, let's speed run. We're going to be going for about another 25 minutes to the top of the hour. If you've got a question, put 4 question marks before and after. But we've got tripods, lighting, microphones, streaming, batteries, miscellaneous, iPads, standing desks. We got a lot of deals coming up. Prime Day 2024, but also just some tips in general for content creation that should be valuable. So what's next?
So this is a cool little device for your iPhone. So for those who are just getting started and want to build a battle station, but maybe not have a webcam, this is a little device that you can attach onto the back of your phone and clip it onto your laptop, and your Mac will automatically connect to your phone and use it as a webcam. So many people say the best camera is the one you have with you, and these iPhones have incredible cameras. So a simple $20 device, you can use the gear you already have to improve your webcam setup today, and that is 27% off at $22. So just a nice handy thing to have. And the last bit of our computer accessories, this is a little bit of a luxury item. LG 42-inch OLED TV. The reason I included this is I have a version of this as my current monitor, and
for editing, you have a version of this for content creation, editing.
Yeah, particularly in editing. So what's cool about it is
that in front of your face right now?
Yeah, it's right in front of my face. It's about big. It's intense. But for video editing, and since this is my job, it gives me plenty of room for my timeline, different effects I want to add on.
I guess.
Yeah, it's a little intense, I gotta admit. But you also save an incredible amount today if you are looking for that.
It's probably
or
beautiful
if you want an incredible TV.
OLED. So the blacks is all rich.
Exactly. It's just a really good color reproduction and everything like that. Plus, it's a TV, so sometimes I just go on my bed and just watch YouTube videos or movies. So kind of serves dual purpose. But if you're looking for a great monitor and you have a lot of money to spend today, this could be one.
Great tip. All right, keep it moving.
All right, let's hit tripods. And Craig, I know you have one of these tripods that is one of your favorites. Let me go to that. This Beta
Yeah,
Concept. Go ahead and take it away.
yeah, we just did a video on the Think Media channel you can check out, which is it was like 10 accessories that are great for YouTube studios, all under $50, and we featured this tripod in the video. I think the thing I like the most about this tripod is the build quality and how heavy duty it is for only, I mean, it's on sale right now for $42, $43. So it's a great option for anybody. And we have a couple other tripods on the list as well. One is Omar's favorite. It's the Ulanzi
Mhm.
MT55. So these two tripods, the KNF and the Ulanzi, very similar tripods. They're going to get you kind of the same. So they're going to solve the same problem for you. And then we have more of a premium option that is Nate's favorite. So Nate, maybe you can speak to this tripod that you have.
Yeah, this one is a little bit more expensive, but what I love about this is it's all metal and it has a fluid head. So if you are shooting more product B-roll, for instance, you want to have a very smooth pan and tilt for some very cinematic looking shots. So the other tripods just have ball heads and they're fantastic if you want just to lock off your camera, if you're filming yourself. But if you're doing anything more video production, this is also nice and small to travel with, but you just have incredible build and it's more video centric.
Fluid head is the search term. Having a tripod
Yes.
with a fluid head if you want to have those smooth pans, and that's a great recommendation there. There a couple questions coming in, and then we'll hit some more on this list here. And what mic is best for overall video narration? Maybe we could skip to mics next, but I also want to
Yeah.
encourage you, it's never about your resources, it's about your resourcefulness. And so one option is literally your phone and talking into it like this, perhaps going into your closet, seriously, because it becomes an audio booth. You're surrounded by clothes, it's low ceilings, and you could narrate over your video. I was just narrating into my phone with like the television on, Trash Truck from Netflix playing, my kids screaming, and like the audio was still pretty good for it. Is for like a social media clip. But the best camera to have is the one you already do have. You could be your phone, the best microphone. And of course, this stuff's about leveling up, because here at Think Media, we're always about, use what you have, punch fear in the face, press record, start posting videos, learn how to monetize, and then, of course, level up. And I think that's important. And actually, by the way, right now I have a limited replay. I did a deep dive YouTube strategy class that's totally for free. That's at thinkmasterclass.com. Because just getting the minimum viable, minimum effective gear, start creating some content, and then definitely level up as you go. But if you want a podcast microphone like the one I have, right here, or some wireless mics, we do have some Prime Day deals here. So what are we looking at when it comes to microphones?
Yeah, Craig, I'll have you take this one away.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is, you mentioned voiceover work, voice narration. This microphone we just included also in the 10 best accessories for YouTube studios under $50, and it's on sale for $39. It's typically closer to like 59 or 50. So, but for Prime Day, it's down to under $40. The ATR 2100X from Audio Technica. This is a USB and XLR microphone. So you can use this with an XLR interface and plug it into something like I'm currently recording or streaming on the Sony FX3. And so they have a top handle. You can run an XLR cable directly into your camera like that. But you can also use the USB-C feature and then plug that directly into your computer. And now you're using it as like more of a USB interface. So I love this microphone. It sounds really rich. It's a dynamic microphone. So this is the Rode Pod Mic, which is also a dynamic microphone, which is great for isolating sound that's really close to the microphone. So I got noisy kids downstairs right now. They're just waking up, they're getting their day going, but you can't hear them because I'm using a dynamic mic. So that Audio Technica microphone is also a dynamic mic that just cancels out all the craziness that goes on in my house. Yeah. So what's the next mic on our list?
Yeah, we have a few wireless microphones, and it's crazy how cheap these wireless microphones used to be. They used to be very expensive and terrible. Now they're cheap and sound fantastic. So one of these is the Rode Wireless Go 2 for 227, so 25% off. This gives you two transmitters, so if you were to interview someone, each person could have their microphone and it goes to the camera, all synced up. You don't have to worry about taking the audio, aligning it with your video. So it can definitely improve your overall workflow. If I were to recommend, if you have a little extra money, I like the Rode Wireless Pro. It is 12% off, so $50 savings. The difference between this one is it sounds a little bit better and it has built-in recordings at 32-bit. And yes, it's very technical, but what that means simply is if you have someone whispering or someone shouting, it's going to record all that information. And so when you're editing, nothing's going to sound distorted or sound bad. So 32-bit is a feature that if you're doing more video production or if you are going into uncertain environments, having backups of audio is definitely key. You don't want the worst thing that can happen is you're filming YouTube video, you're filming a wedding, and the audio is ruined. Then you're in pretty bad luck. So getting the Rode Wireless Pro is awesome. And yes, it is expensive, but it comes with professional lavalier microphones. So you
Yes.
can
That's
wire
the
and hook yourself up. Yeah, go
I'll
ahead.
add
Take
that.
away,
Yeah,
Craig.
the biggest thing about this kit that's impressive for the price point is that you get the wireless charging case and all the accessories that you would need. So yeah, it's a more expensive price point up front, but that's including all of the accessories that you would have to go buy if you were to buy a cheaper kit that doesn't have the built-in charging case or the lapel mics and other accessories. So they kind of build that into the price, which is why it's more spendy, but for the value you're getting, it's huge.
Absolutely. And we have one more, Craig. You just reviewed the Hollyland
Hey,
Lark 2. This is
I
pretty
love this thing.
popular and it's pretty affordable too. Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So I did a review where we tested like 4 or 5 of it was 5 of the top wireless mic systems online right now that are just buzzing. People are talking about. And so we picked up the Hollyland Lark M2 and I was shocked at how good that mic sounded. To me, the closest mic that was comparable sound quality wise would have been the DJI Mic 2 system or the Rode Wireless Pro. So this is a budget microphone for excellent. I mean, audio quality was incredible. I was so shocked. And the most expensive mic on our list compared to the most budget mic on our list, there was a night and day difference. This one was way better. So if you want the most affordable option that sounds the best in 2024, I think the Hollyland Lark M2 is the choice for you for sure.
Yeah, and check this out. I spotted MKBHD with the Hollyland right there in the center of his shirt. And
Nice.
so this mic is definitely making waves and very competitive with DJI, Rode, some of the others. So put that on screen again if anyone's interested in that one, just so they could see it. And then as a reminder, I know we're covering so many different tech deals. These are all summarized in the YouTube description down below. And those are our affiliate links, most likely. So we may earn commissions. But that is the Hollyland Lark M2 wireless lavalier microphone. So check those out if you're looking for good audio. And some people ask, Craig, like, okay, I want a microphone for my iPhone. I want a microphone for my mirrorless camera. I want, will it work for both?
Yeah, I mean, it does work for both for sure. And there's different use cases for these things. And again, it's like you select the right tool for the right job. But if you want to watch our review of these wireless microphones, I actually positioned that mic as more of a podcast mic setup. So I had it set up on a little stand right here, and I was using it more like I would be using a podcast mic. So you can see how it sounds. I mean, it sounds really good. And if you're somebody who, you don't always have to do, the big content creator influencer thing where you put it here, you put it on your neck, or people do it now on the hat. They like put it right here on the hat, the wireless units. I think it's hilarious. And you can do that, but you can use this for even voiceover work for sure. And it sounds really good. So multiple use cases for these things.
Yeah, and the question, Mindy over 50 says, can you use it for iPhone 12? It's perfectly positioned for that because one of the things you want to confirm is what are the different connector options, and it
Yes.
looks like Lightning is one of them, or you're gonna choose USB-C or Lightning, and then with some of these kits, there's cables that then help the receiver plug into a camera. So you want to confirm all of those details. But for iPhone 12, absolutely, it will work for iPhone 12. All right, what's the next mic?
So here we have a Deity D4 Duo. And Craig, have you used a version of this? I'm not sure if this was a different
Yeah.
version.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've used the Deity, just the D4 Mini. The Duo is interesting because it actually has two microphones, both at the front and the rear of the camera. And then it also has an additional input. So this is a very weird situation where you can record audio like in front of you and behind the camera. And then you can also input an additional signal. So you could have like somebody 100 feet away using a wireless transmitter, and you could run that audio signal into your shotgun mic. And so you're getting like just audio from all different directions. And so typically this is closer to the $80 price, and it's down below $60. So it's a cool kind of like a hybrid audio interface as well as a microphone pointing in two different directions. So kind of a cool thing. And I don't have this exact one, but if,
Nice.
maybe this might be actually my first Prime Day pickup. Now that I think about it, I might have to pick this up.
It actually makes a lot of sense for like point of view vloggers, because the shotgun mic cuts you off if you're behind the camera. Back in the day, I used to spin it back and forth. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
for this scene, I'm going to talk into the camera and narrate what I'm seeing, and then if you point forward. But if you were walking through a cruise or Disneyland or something and wanting to get the audio of your family or whatever in front, as well as narrate from behind, definitely an innovative idea from Deity. And so what's next?
Absolutely. We have one more mic from Deity. This is more of a podcast streamer mic. It's also pretty affordable as well. I believe Omar did a video comparison with this microphone, and it sounds pretty decent at 50% off. You also get a little tripod, a manual gain dial, a mute switch. So if you are looking for a budget podcast streaming mic, this could be a potential option. And there is USB-C. So it doesn't look like an XLR, but I think most of us are just connecting to a computer anyway. So pretty sweet little microphone.
I
And the
think
last,
yesterday too, just wanted to confirm that Deity VO7U, I think it's that one. I covered it on yesterday's stream. With
nice.
the boom arm is 99, and
Ooh, even better.
with their boom arm. So let me I'll look into that and then keep it moving, and I'll come back if I can find that.
Love it.
Absolutely. Last bit of microphones. This is more of video production, but remember how I described 32-bit allows you to record highs and lows and make sure you're not losing any data? Well, this is a field recorder. So, for example, if you're recording a wedding and you have your XLR cables hooked up, you can record into 30-bit no matter which microphone source you're using. So this is 32% off. It was $350. It's over $100 saved. So incredible little piece. I believe Kyle uses this. So it is very high end and it's very tiny and small. Again, maybe not for every YouTube setup, but you'll know it if you need it. So that wraps up our bit of microphones. Let's quickly go into some streaming setups. And Craig, I'll have you take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. So our first item, and maybe Sean, I think you actually use a Stream Deck, and maybe you want to talk about this a little more, but the Elgato Stream Deck is one of our favorite accessories that you can buy for your desk setup, for your battle station, as we often call them. And so what this tool is basically, this is the 15 key version. So this is customizable LCD keys, which then allows you to control apps and tools and just perform different operations by a click of a button. And so you could turn on and off the Elgato Streamlight, or you could, go live on a live stream. So there's all these different functions that instead of having to use your computer and touch, keys for, you can then use the Stream Deck to just make things quicker, perform actions quicker. Sean, how are you using the Stream Deck at your setup?
Yeah, the Stream Deck integrated with an internal, I have a PC, so integrated with an internal capture card. You also could do it, I think, with other types of capture cards, even a cam link or whatnot. You just can set it up as a switcher. So this is how I'm able to switch between multiple different cameras, control Elgato key lights, color temperature, on and off, brightness. But then also probably the most important is Spotify. You would just want to be able to quickly check, click through your songs, volume on and off, mute on and off. And it's fully programmable. So to your point, Craig, is like literally it's endless. You could do different buttons, different menus. And for streamers, especially, sometimes if you want to pop confetti or something, or even connect it to the RGB lights inside of your office, your home office, it really does integrate with any brands. And some of the things we've been noticing is like Elgato key light is on sale. That is this light. And we do have a stream from yesterday with even more deals that are still going for the next however long. But even the newer, which would be a much more affordable budget option, integrates with the Stream Deck as well. You know, you're able to just kind of go in and program it, find it on your Wi-Fi signal. So all that to say is that there's a lot you can do with a Stream Deck. It's basically endless. Takes a little bit of a learning curve to just, you know, get the different things hooked up. But it makes things really, really cool.
Yep.
Absolutely. And we also have the Elgato key light, like you just mentioned. This is a really cool light. We have used it here at Think Media. Sometimes when you're mounting lights to your desk, you can't really fit a professional video light. So you want something really small and streamlined and give you a soft, flattering look. So this has a panel with the included stand that attaches to your desk. And there's also a little remote that comes with it, which is really handy. You don't have to reach around and awkwardly try to adjust the light. It comes with the remote and you're all good to go. The last bit is the Rode Streamer X. I'm not actually too familiar with what this is, but do you guys have any input on what this does? It's over 25% off.
I'm just surprised that the reviews are a little tough at 3.5 stars. I mean, I don't know if Kyle Anderson wants to come in. I just saw him in the background. He was like, bro, you need this. I'm like, no, I don't think I need this. But ultimately,
wow, you brought me up.
But
yeah, I mean, I use that for, especially on my gaming setup. It's sweet because I can plug in my SM7B on it. It has a built-in cloud lifter or gain booster on it, so you don't need a cloud lifter with your SM7B, and you can plug in your camera HDMI directly into it. And so it's one device for your audio and your video. So I think it's pretty sick. Plus, it has sound pads on it to play any kind of sounds. Like I also use my Stream Deck to play sounds, but you can use it on the Rode Streamer X.
So
and
I wonder,
use this,
what's the critique then? I'm just curious, like pros and cons, because I was just surprised. I bet maybe a version 2 comes out. There's also what, a Rodecaster Duo. That's different. This one actually
that's different. Yeah,
HDMI.
this is meant more for streamlining audio video. Rodecaster is mainly, that whole series is audio. That's what you're going to be doing with that.
Customers like the hardware and of the sound card, mentioning it's stable. They also like the software. They say the software needs work. It's a CPU hog and bugs out. Customers also mention the system is tedious and requires a lot of patience.
Yeah, I've had some issues where I plugged in my camera and it wasn't working, and to come to find out, the cable wasn't like a fast enough cable to transfer the video. So it wasn't the device, it was actually the cable. So like little things like that you got to watch out for. But once you get it working, it's once you get it working.
Max summed up the software.
Great. I love it.
The worst software known to man.
How long ago was
they
that?
never used Premiere Pro.
That was almost a year. I mean, 7 months ago. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right. And by the way, what's actually is interesting about that, because Rode's an incredible company, it's probably an amazing device. Software is changeable. They could update the firmware.
They're always updating their software. There's always firmware updates.
Yep.
So I mean, I like it.
Yep.
I mean, Melissa, she uses that on the stream. So when she's on with other web classes with you, she's got the SM7B on it. She's got her mic plugged in, and she's ready to go.
Man, I love it. Well, we have a few more minutes here. Smash like if you've been getting value, and for Kyle Anderson sliding in.
Also, hey, this light, I'm using it right now. Somebody in the comments was like, should I get this one? Or I believe the Godox. Like, I'm currently using it right now. Just one light, just like a nice soft box on it. I think these Amaron 60Ds are amazing. I really love them.
Absolutely. Aperture has a whole summer sale, so this goes beyond Prime Day. Crazy deals, and this would be the light I would recommend to anyone starting off. Not only do they just have great color, great output, but they also have an app. So everything's connected to this app called Sidus Link, and so I have these in the background where this little lamp thing, I can adjust the brightness or even the color. So you can get really fancy with your setup and dial it in, which is fantastic. This 60D is just daylight only, which can be really helpful for your setup as a key light. $135. You can connect a battery to it. There is a 60XS version, slightly more expensive, but this gives you bicolor. What does bicolor mean? It allows you to adjust the warmth and the coolness of the light. So depending on your setup, it allows you just to dial it in a little bit further. for just a little extra money. But there's sales for all Amaran products, which is fantastic. Craig, you have a few of these small rig lights. I'll have you take a look at these.
Oh yeah, these are such fun little lights. We did a video in the last few weeks about a complete YouTube studio kit for $1,000, which included like an RGB accent setup. And we used the small rig P108 and then the P96L as our RGB solutions. And I'm currently, the RGB you see in the background is like a $350 light from Amaran. It's their P60C. But these two tiny lights that are like $50 together created the same RGB effect that I do in my studio for $350. You spend $50 and you get a high quality RGB. Now they're really small, but that's good because they're portable. So you can take them on the road with you. You can travel with these. And also they're not just RGB. You can use the daylight color temperature as well. So you could use these for a fill light or an accent light. I like both of these. If you could only get one, I would go with the P96L because it's like 3 or 4 times brighter in my experience. But both are really fun lights to use for sure.
Now, there's been a few videos thrown out. Craig just mentioned this is a brand new video, a complete YouTube studio for under 1,000. I just posted that in the comments, but we'll also get that moved over to our description as well. So if you're just jumping on for the live stream, check out the replay because we'll have time codes and chapters and organization. And we did a ton of research. And so you can see a full list of the deals in the description. We're not going to have time to probably get to all of them. So if you're shopping for batteries or iPads or different streaming tech or microphones, we covered cameras up at the top of the hour. And then we have video tutorials on some of your questions. What's the best microphone? What camera should I use for video podcasting? I've seen those coming in. And so we'll just really make sure that the description is optimized with resources to ultimately help you reach your content creation goals. With that, let's touch 1 or 2 things here as we land the plane.
Yeah. These are sweet floor lamps. And now these are actually in partnership with another YouTube channel called Full-Time Filmmaker. They made a series of products, really budget products for filmmakers and people who are getting their home studio dialed in. So now if you see behind me, these are the bar lights behind me, and they are controlled via like this tiny little remote control. So I can just turn them on and off, change the little colors. I love these things. And the beauty about
your
them
studio is a spaceship.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, that's the goal. The goal is to have a spaceship, right? I don't know. But with these lights, the cool thing about them is Parker Walbeck, who used to be the CEO of Full-Time Filmmaker, but he thought about the flicker situation. A lot of LED floor lamps flicker, and the refresh rates of those lights are really poor, but these do not flicker. So I can turn these on in my studio and we get no flicker. So these are often a common question that I get in my YouTube videos that I make. So these are them, and they're on sale for 20% off. I got them, and these are per light. So it's $80 for one. It's not both of them, but yeah, great little lights.
Incredible.
Awesome. I'll quickly touch on some camera batteries. These are really cool. More and more people are using what we call V-mount batteries because these are becoming a lot more smart. They have USB-C, they have different inputs and outputs that allow, you can even charge them with a USB-C. So essentially these are just video ready battery banks, and they become a lot more affordable. I have a few of these by Newer. They are 42% off, $105. You could power your camera for honestly like a whole day. Just leave those linked up. Omar has used these kind of batteries for travel setups. And yeah,
Omar
Kyle,
got that
you have
from
these
me,
for your
but
podcast.
yes, he does.
Yeah, it's a major hack. When we go to
let me just say, okay, I bought these because we would go traveling. Me and Sean would go travel and do podcast setups. And I have 3 cameras. I would have SD cards, mics, and I'm trying to like make sure everything looks good, making sure everything sounds good, and then I'm having to worry about the batteries. It's not like I can plug in dummy batteries into a power on the wall because I never know where I'm going to be. And so like there's been times where I have literally lost footage because like the battery dies during the podcast interview, and for some reason it just didn't capture that whole file, and it was like an hour file. And so I've had nightmares. So I've bought like a whole stack of these. These are the small rigs, but I have larger ones. And even I have an overhead camera, but I have it plugged in. See, the dummy battery plugs right into this, and it powers. You can get different sizes of these. but it'll power the camera all day. So we'll shoot like 3 podcasts in one day traveling, and I don't swap out the battery. I use that entire thing, and then I use that same battery, this same thing, on the plane. Plug my phone into it, and I'm charging my phone on the
Same.
plane. So
Yeah.
like, they're the best things ever. I've swapped completely over. I haven't used a Sony battery in like a year because I use a dummy battery right into a V mount, and then I power all my accessories from my camera. So like my screen, if I have like a tear deck, I'm sending a wireless. I know we're getting a little crazy here. Sending a wireless video to a different receiver. Like every accessory on my camera is powered by this one battery, and that way you're not messing with all this stuff. So
Dude,
highly
and
recommend.
they're multi-purpose because I use V-mounts for all of the purposes you mentioned, but I also have 2 V-mount batteries in my car right now that power both of my son's portable fans that are in their cars. So they point at them, and I'm just running them off of V-mount batteries.
They're
for a
the
week.
best. They change
Yes.
your life, like personal life and creative life. Come on.
Yep.
That is the
Absolutely.
exact one that I have. I have like 5 of those. And then this is the 50, and it's skinnier. So it's a little smaller. So I have like 2 of these. Dude. It's just
Genius content creation tips. And we actually, we've covered so much today. I want to thank all of the Think Media team for coming on. Can you show some love in the chat? And
yeah,
smash
really quick.
like.
Those aren't in the description. So I'm going to put those in the description right now. And everything we talked about is in the YouTube description. So if you can't find it in the chat, Dre's in there doing that, but just look in the YouTube description. We have it all listed out there. And even the videos that we talked about, we'll put in there. So.
And shout out to Rich, says appreciate the information, very helpful. I know some questions came in, and so if you actually want to do a little bit more Q&A, massive love to Kyle, Craig, and Nathan. A little bit later today, in fact, in 117 minutes, I'm going live on our Coffee with Candle show. I actually have a free training for about the first 20 minutes where I'm going to be talking about our 3A formula for like how to start your videos. And if you're struggling to get views right now, struggling to grow your channel, that's actually on our other channel. It's called Think Media Podcast. If you didn't know, we have a whole nother channel, a weekly podcast, and then there's some Q&A live stream stuff that happens over there. So that's happening today. And you could check out that at the Think Media Podcast channel or link in the comments down below. Massive love to the team. My name is Sean Cannell, your guide to building a profitable YouTube channel. Happy Prime Day shopping. Smash like if you got value, and we'll see you in a future video. Peace.